getting the performance right, getting the new textures right, real-time reflection maps, just absolutely everywhere. Hey, there we go. I'll put in a tutorial hopper. Although that one does look better, can't see any of that extra bits. I think it's designed for that. Yeah, let's keep that one. What material are you then, sir? Hopper tutorial. I probably could have worked that out myself. So that just shows the player you should build something there. You noticed last night while I was quickly trying to get the screenshots for the Patreons, I put something down and it went linked, but it hadn't rotated at all. Actually, let us build one closer because we do get nice lighting here. Also need to fix Arthur at some point. He won't catch fire, but obviously we're not crashed. He'll require you to put an access key in. Then you'll get Arthur initially. It'll be start here. Now it'll be like you have 1 hour, you get an Arthur. There's a whole bunch of code that builds the base, and it stops you sort of tearing it up, at least currently. Yeah, so that's not worked, for example. Very weird green look about this. Lighting in Fortresscraft is an absolute freaking nightmare. It has more brightness levels than most games. Like, genuinely, most games don't very dark to very light. They go orange to blue for daytime to nighttime. Fortresscraft actually genuinely goes dark, and that's not something you see a lot. Lighting is entirely under user control. So again, I see so many people going, oh, why is it bloomy when I do this? I'm like, well, you've put lights down there like that. I don't think Todd's got this set up right. I noticed that those were very different colours. So what's going on here? I don't think we need the no motor stuff, simply because there's no situation under which you can't have this working. Not sure what Andy's done at the back here, apart from not force it all the way through. Well, it will show us how much ore we've got in there. I assume this does the same thing. It's weird. So that machine is a meter tool. Actually, you'll know how big it is. It's quite big, but it feels like it's about knee height. I don't know why. I wonder whether the Fortresscraft player is too tall. It's 1.7 meters tall. Now it's 1.5. See, that actually feels better. I mean, obviously, in the world, you don't know how big anything is. Well, that's not working. Let's see why not. That's quite cool. Unity is obsessed with physically based modelling. But this means that Todd and I, we don't care about physically based modelling. We're like, we would like this to be shiny. And it's all like, no, it can't be shiny because it's a matte material. I'm like, make it shiny. I'm like, oh, but it's in a dark area. I'm like, just make it shiny. I don't care. Unity is persistent on having glossiness sliders and metallicness and all this sort of crap. All this boils down to, if you actually have ever done any shaded programming, is two numbers: specular power, specular size. So I'm going to add a reflection probe. It is a real-time reflection probe. Every frame, individual faces, but it will only of just sky. We'll make this cover everything within a 256 area. Experiment right now. I think I can use reflection probe, so I'll generate a reflection probe per room. The issue really comes is when we go underground, what does the reflection probe do then? Now, when people talk about bloom and stuff, I go, it's shiny. That annoys me too. That's not shiny. It's very difficult to make something shiny. Having a specular highlight is not the same as being shiny. Ball there should show us what we think the reflection map actually is, and I'm expecting this is the sky. Now, the problem is, the sky's no use a lot of time in Fortresscraft, but what I can do is put things in the way. It's black. There's nothing to reflect. This is when people say, oh, you know, blue mix up reflect. If anything exists in the world with reflections, that's what it will look like. But that means that this will now reflect that. So that's the actual effect. This means that stuff now will correctly obey the colour of the sky. So as we got close to the door reflection probes become more important. But here again, we're back to reflecting the sky. The plan is to generate a reflection probe per room anyway. I don't know what the performance impact is of having hundreds of reflection probes. That's how it used to look. Bright green sky thing. But now you see it's picking up what the sky is doing. Now the tricky part is making the bottom half of this, can just say reflect everything. It's entirely possible to do that, but obviously, as you can tell quite quickly, complete and total nonsense. We need to look at making the sky more intense. Maybe the sky is simply too dark. And when people are going on about real-time ray tracing and stuff, what I'm doing here is literally real-time ray tracing. If I were to turn this into a full real-time ray tracing system, it would look slightly more accurate, but would look exactly the same. Another probe, that's fine. It just means that each one has a latency of 1 frame. But I would need a second reflection probe there. Never bothered to layerize the graphics. So something I've started to do more is to put things in different layers to quickly be able to draw just a landscape. I've still yet to see anything with ray tracing that makes me go, oh my god. I've had a few ideas for things, but I can't think of anything other than slightly nicer penumbral shadows Slightly better reflections. I want to be excited by it. I did ray tracing for years and years and years, and now I'm just like, eh. RTX doesn't care about the complexity of your scene particularly. RTX is mostly a pixel count issue, so it doesn't matter whether it's Minecraft or Battlefield. Like here, RTX on, RTX off, slightly darker on. Like any sort of quantum jump, and certainly not the insane amount of silicon you need to throw at it to achieve that. The skin lighting does look a little bit more convincing. I looked at potentially doing a day on ray tracing, and oh my god, not until Unity gets its act together, I've never jumped through so many hoops in my life. It's called penumbral shadows. So the point is that shadow is sharp when the object is close and blurry when it's far away. This is not the holy grail of computer rendering. No one really cares. Now, Fortresscraft, of all games, might actually benefit quite a lot from ray tracing, because Fortresscraft is fundamentally about a very, very dark game with some very bright things in it. Like if I go into somewhere darker, it doesn't know, it's still going to reflect the sky. This is where RTX would do better, is in correct reflections. It's a really important issue that you can make it look good without people without RTX. Not possible as an indie dev. I can't do RTX and non-RTX, forget it. I have to pick one, and I do that one to the best of my ability. What they actually are is NVIDIA having generated a huge, and I mean enormous amount of Bitcoin rendering tech and not having anything to do with it. That's what RTX fundamentally is. It's the same massively parallel system used for doing Bitcoins. The Bitcoin bubble burst, NVIDIA had a whole bunch of research, slapped out the RTX very, very quickly. Now that it will just render the world and not anything else. That's how we render them right now in games. That's how you can render them, so they get fuzzier the longer they go away. Let's be honest though, big fucking whoop. All this can be done using current technology anyway, and on top of that, none of it really looks that good. Unfortunately, we spent an awful lot of time making shaders really, really good. Instead of updating the whole thing like blup, 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 you can see the reflection map updating about once a second. Because what I wanted to do is to blur the updates. With a lot of these techniques, as long as I can have them so you can switch them on and they look good, I might just leave them in as detail options. So there might be a real-time ray tracing option. This is the problem. I have real-time or performance murdering. Again, this is where ray tracing would work. So if I put that green thing out of the way, on the left you should still see the reflection of it. You can't because I can't see it. This is where SSRR falls down too. Probably something just like that. It doesn't need to be accurate, because I do actually calculate what colour the floor is. Right now the floor is blue, and then I apply a blue ambient to the world when we're in blue, and then of course the world is just miles and miles and miles of blue. In a company, you might have 4 or 5 people assigned to doing these systems in the game. Fortresscraft 2, I am going to make more of a deal about lighting. Torches are going to be temporary. Bear that in mind, that's a definite. Electric lights will be your permanent lights. The game looks great when it's dark. It looks so good when it's dark and atmospheric. But all people do, my technical, they just go blah 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 blah. Ta-da, done. You've just lit up this entire area without any thought whatsoever. So I want to try and do some better lighting to make dark areas a bit more of a challenge to make, not just lit up. That's quite cool. You'd almost never have it like that. You would almost definitely have some sort of light. I will be working on an electric light that's less insane than our current electric light. I mean, even with Fortresscraft 1, a lot of times you did something and then you went, you know what, that didn't work. And hopefully everything I do will work, but some stuff might not work. We'll just have to see. I'm not doing wires. Forget wires. You said, let's have wires. Right, let's have wires. So wires are a 1 meter block. So here's our power source, there's our battery. Let's connect that from here to wires, because I have told people no so often on this. Wires are the same as putting a laser once per meter. We've got wires, that's it. Because it's ugly, it doesn't help, it doesn't improve anything, doesn't alter anything, just means you're building up to 64 times more things. Actually, it was a beautiful, beautiful, simplified, glorious concept. And they clearly play Fortresscraft. They clearly play Space Engineers. They clearly like that. So they tried to get this beautiful, simple game with the most gorgeous, diegetic UI and a lovely aesthetic, and are desperately trying to crank in a complicated game. Like, all of their base power management system just doesn't work. I have to sit and stare at little connections and see how full they are and what direction the lights are going in. It just look like that. It's not better, is it? That's not gaining anything. All you're doing there is saying to the player, hey, would you like a really awkward way of doing the same thing? I see so many requests for wires. I don't really understand what people think they're getting or changing. Like I don't understand. I think they might think they can click A then B. I don't understand. It is casting shadows, and yet it's not. I think my shader for the landscape does not receive point light shadow. I'm going to make a note on that. So it does appear to be the shader. No, I don't give a shit about Satisfactory. Why do you think I would follow it? Astroneer, unfortunately, I feel ruined. Simplicity personified. It was a really, really good game, and it was one I could play on my pad, and I genuinely like that. They've overcomplicated it as time went on, as opposed to adding more interesting things to it. But when they start to add the power management stuff and diodes and what, and I'm like, I don't want any of this. I don't know why you're adding this. And then I realised the attitude of developers after they said, "Oh, sorry guys, we noticed that we broke the controls on the crane 3 months ago for people on pad." I'm like, this is a fucking Xbox game here. This is one of Microsoft's pushing it hard. This is our No Man's Sky competitor, and you broke the controls on the pad and no one noticed for months. Yes, I'm casting shadows, but not on the... Right now, I can still open it up. This is going, just so you're fully aware. I love that Unity just draws a circle going, something has a range of this. What? What has range of that? Not telling you. This is going to be one of those things where I do this, and I'll be really happy with it, and no one will ever notice it. That there to show how much how full it is. I think the main thing that annoys about Satisfactory is I've been told for years, graphics don't matter, graphics don't matter, graphics don't matter, graphics don't matter. It's all about gameplay, it's all about gameplay, it's all about gameplay. And they sold so many copies on a nice trailer. I'm a bit surprised Andy didn't allow me to spin that bit. But Dark Future had a great backstory. I think it's a turn-based game. They've managed to make car combat look kind of boring. And that's amazing. Really wish they would stop this. Valve should really clap down on people just 24/7 streaming. Todd has colorized that, so I can't even colorize it. So I were to make it go bright red, it just goes black. I've thought about doing it myself. Again, if someone comes to me and says, "Hey Adam, we'd like to invest £2 million into Projector games, and we'd like you to do a game about radio controlled cars with weapons in combat arenas," I'd be like, hell yeah. Can you imagine how cool that is? Imagine if you want that could stealth as well. Oh, so good. There you go, there's the belts. I spent my life in Stunt Island. You could make films. So you could build, set, place cameras, but you could do stuff like this entirely in the game. If that come out after YouTube, that's all you would have seen. That's all the kids would have done. Now, the problem is this is a cool idea and I like it, but I don't think anyone's going to see it. See the ore filling up in that? Can you imagine a Warhammer 40k racing game? Just saying those words out loud makes me want to hit the wishlist button. Can you imagine being in an Eldar hover tank? Yeah, like that. But essentially, Carmageddon with orcs. Going to make the player shorter. I just hard code this number like a bad person. I tend to look at some point about re-rendering that. Yeah, I don't even see the world doing very obviously odd things there. Just keep rendering the reflection map, but only render it at 50% opacity. I don't really know how to describe what I want. Instead of updating the whole thing every frame, update it only with 75% of the change. But that's really horrible, and that's probably not to a quality where I can keep it. I still like Unity. That doesn't mean it couldn't be better. I like pizza. I just wish it had 0 calories in it. And the fact that I have to stand up here and look down on it probably says it all about what a bad idea this was. Yeah, Unity's not meant for this sort of game, but neither's Unreal or Game Maker or Crytek or Lumbia. Like, the problem is that Fortresscraft could never look as good as Satisfactory, because Satisfactory is a static world. All of their tools for Unreal and Unity are entirely geared towards static worlds. I mean, No Man's Sky is the very rare exception to having a dynamic world that looks really good. Because I'm an editor, when I throw something on the ground or build it, my infantry doesn't decrement. So I just end it with my infantry being completely full of just random stuff. This one's full. We have no way of indicating it's full. Honestly, I think those conveyor lines, those conveyor belts would be more help than anything else. Probably what Andy wants to do is to have at least 5 of them and the windows slightly bigger. Right now, I know I'm somewhere between a third and a half full. I don't really know where I am. Sorry, 3 2/3 full. Now that's a bug that I thought I fixed. Apparently I didn't. Which it should do. The drill head should also retract. I'm moving it in the wrong axis, but that's not difficult to do. I want to make it so where you have set up a base somewhere underground is more of a base. You don't just slap down torches willy-nilly without worrying about it. Do so temporarily, but you will want to go back to a more permanent state. That's the goal. How I arrange that remains to be seen. Titanium, nickel and gold. And then you've got your cargo lift. Your biomass, no you haven't. You've got your crystal and your lithium and your iron and your copper and your tin. And then you might have a cargo lift coming up from here. And then here is all the rest of your base. It's all here. Everything is here. I'm going to try and change that. I want to try and stop everyone just building everything on the surface. And the underground is nothing more than an extractor, a hopper, PSB, and a turret. Or beneficiation will be advantageous. You don't on-site smelt, but you do, or you can, on-site beneficiate. That means that it is more efficient to do so. More importantly, I will balance the game around it. The reason I didn't allow on-site smelting was because people would then carry stuff from the smelter back by hand. It's really important your base is hooked up to the main grid. It is very important for the way the game fundamentally and technically works, that you don't just build separated things. That is part of how the engine works. And sometimes I have to force people to play in a certain way so the engine works. DjArcas, actually, have you ever actually tried this? Working without lights? Like, genuinely. It ain't gonna happen. I think Fortresscraft looks the best when it's black. That's the bit where the game looks good, because it's not oversaturated. Humans like to make stuff up when they can't see everything they can. But if I, like, are you genuinely telling me you're going to play the game like that? Because you're not, are you? But that looks good. Looks really good. Right to the point where I plastered it with torches and it doesn't look good anymore. When you actually light stuff up, then it looks a lot less good. It doesn't look mysterious, doesn't look interesting, just looks like a bunch of blocks. This is exacerbated by the really nice new rendering we've got for the specular lighting. Haven't you? But you notice the moment you put lights down, the game gets a lot less nice looking. Flat, very washed out. Even with a dim light like that. I have enough problems with people putting too many lights and then complaining it looks shit. I'm like, well, you put them there. Put less down. Oh, yeah. Well, there is a gameplay reason. You can't see shit otherwise. I'm certainly not doing Minecraft's fucking no mob spawn when there's lights nearby. Bollocks. Christ, what a disaster that was. So that's why I don't really care what people do in their base. My only issue is when people purposely play it in a way I never intended and then complain it's not good, any good. Other than that, I don't care. If I intend you to play it so you spend a little bit of time lighting things and you don't, well, that's your own lookout. What, you know, do light it like that. Oh, that looks much better. Given that you won't be able to see if an ore extractor is gunked up with a slime without it, I suspect I'll already be nerfing the suit light because it's way too powerful. Again, the idea was always that you fumbled around in terrifying darkness and then eventually you conquered it. Does seem that in mine shafts, you put lights down. Honestly, not lighting your base though is just a good way to fall down a hole, and that's enough reason for me to light my way. I don't want people to be able to light up enormous swathes of cavern with 5 or 6 clicks on the mouse in 3 seconds. Yeah, people do cheat horror games by having an incorrect gamma. Absolutely they do. Are you the game fun police? A game that just congratulates you all the time? I don't want Fortresscraft to be like that. I want Fortresscraft to be about doing difficult things, and if you do them well, you get to go to yourself, wow, that was really good. I would not recommend Kerbal Space Program to anyone under any circumstances. It is a fucking atrocious, atrocious game. I spent hundreds of hours playing it. I love it. But I could never recommend it as a game to anyone because it is massively, massively too difficult. You need to understand far too much stuff you shouldn't. The game does not give you the tools and fully expects you to run modded. But probably one of my finest, most enjoyable and best moments in gaming, in my personal gaming history, was when I first landed on the Mun. It was incredible. The hours I had put in to accomplish this was just insane. Fortresscraft, it does need some of that. I also should tweak my shadow cascade to that. I don't like that. I really don't like it when games have that effect and don't bother to fix it. It's not that hard to fix. Mostly, these particle effects are so you can quickly look at a drill and go, it's working. Started Fortresscraft November 2010. We started Fortresscraft Evolved and we released it April 2011. We saw Fortresscraft Evolved November 2013. October the 1st, 2013 was the first upload. First Linux build was 6 weeks later. The placement falcors I think are a great idea. I'm all for them. They hit some of the X's I have laid out for this game, and that's important. Like, the game has design goals. I can't just go, that's a good idea. Screw my integrity, I'm going to put that cool idea in. I can't do that, and I won't do that. When something comes along that fundamentally fits all of those goals, it lets people build rooms. That's important to me. Rooms look good. Placement falcors means we should be able to build rooms, not instantly. In fact, your first one, you'll be like, this is so slow. But as you build more and more and more falcors, it should look better and better and go quicker and quicker. It automates. That's a design goal. It forces rooms. That's a design goal. It has things moving. Another design goal. Looks cool. It's upgradable. It's scalable. It gives the player something to do. It's all around better. Now, the best thing is about the placement falcors, over the course of an entire Fortresscraft playthrough, let's say for sake of argument, you spend 1 hour building rooms. Bet you, in a Fortresscraft Phoenix playthrough, I bet you spend 4 hours creating your placement falcor network. I bet you spend more time doing that. So that's a good thing. You'll also probably enjoy it more, which is also important. These, to me, are important machines to get right because they are one of the first machines you'll see. They're one of the machines that people have seen them the most. Why not make the ore storage process interesting all the time? Have it unload visually to a hopper below. What? So this like gets split into two. I take your point, but imagine you built the machine. That's under the ground. So you'd never see it, and you'd be like, "Why, when I put a hopper here, doesn't it offload?" Something Todd needs to do sooner rather than later is fix that highlight reticle, just to be different. I mean, I'm pretty sure that red thing I did. And then we have the little animated circuit diagram. And then we've got the glow as well. And the glow represents which tier you've got selected, by the way. Still no plans to make a VR version of the game. It would be cool if one day we did. Years time, I can imagine genuinely that nearly every game is VR. Maybe 10 years, maybe 20 years, but VR is the future. The future is not two-dimensional screens. I do have to pick my battles. I could easily spend 6 weeks on this machine. Easily. This is one of the most important machines in the game. One of the first ones you see. It is the critical part of your entire base. I could spend forever on it. And if I could, well, I probably would. But I mustn't. I'm not sure Andy thought that through entirely now. I'm not sure that bit is supposed to spin. Or that bit's supposed to spin as well. I don't know. It'll just stop at any arbitrary angle. I think that's good though. I am planning on updating the VR scene. Now I can't remember where it is. That's the main reason I haven't done it. So that we are overall writing good games. Not everybody's cup of tea, but competent games. So Adapter, good game. I like it. Nomancer, good game. Paxton, it's alright. Our issue is selling the games. Our issue is marketing the games, not anything else. And it's not the whole game. It's just a museum you walk around. Now, I want to try and keep this up to date. Put it on Fortresscraft as a sort of a download. I need to chat with Valve about that maybe. I want to give it away. You can look at all the stuff that's coming in Fortresscraft Phoenix in VR as a kind of a marketing thing. And I cannot start and stop the ore. So it's a trick. It does look cool, but it wouldn't work for a system where the ore could stop. As I put the head down, the ore will do this. Okay? Bang. It appears, it disappears. It doesn't animate in, it doesn't grow from one side. One thing that saddens me is players do anything they can to have the minimum amount of stuff on conveyor belts, which is a shame, because some stuff looks really good on conveyor belts. I agree with you, that would look good. But what we're talking about is a pile of ore. If you're expecting like a run of rubble and ore, that is not going to happen. Pile, obviously, would have a nicer mesh than that. Like a pile of ore, like that, sure, that can be done. continuous stream of rubble. Absolutely not. The ore process, at the end of it, you'll still spit out ore. You won't spit out bars. You might spit out blocks. I don't know. I haven't decided what the different tiers of ore look like. Marching cubes for ore is a possibility, but a bit pointless. I mean, it won't look very much different. A little bit. Now, the cool thing is, the way it works is the density of the ore is based on it. So as it disappears, it kind of works. I am going to keep the belts in, by the way, even if there's no ore, because then you'll see which direction it should be going. That I will be able to have marching cubes, but each marching cube instance is a non-multiple texture block. So I would have one set of marching cubes that just do resin. One for copper, one for tin, blah, 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 blah. Shouldn't be much performance difference. Why there's a plant alive on top of tin is another question. All the different cutter heads work, by the way, and they're obviously more visible than before. I love that. I love that. But I look at that as a gamer, I look at that and go, ooh. As a programmer, I look at that and go, how slow? You're rendering Bezier curves? What the hell are you doing? They are still individual piles of rubble. But yeah, for the cost of rendering that, in Fortresscraft, you could render 10,000 belts. As a logistics, again, that's a total mess. That's not like, hey, that's a really cool. It's horrible they allow players to do that. Yeah, we can probably do exactly the same thing. I don't see a reason we can't. And I agree, it should look less blocky. Other things I need to do then. We still need to do the power. I suspect the glow of the whole thing should work. I still need to do visibility. And I still need to think about audio. I hope there will not be any UI for this. I think Todd needs to make the glow behind those a lot less. Actually, that's kind of nice. It's not... Do you reckon that way, or should it be going up and down? What I'm going to do for the minute, I'll actually just drop the glow entirely. So kind of like that. I can make it go much quicker. Ooh, not quite that quick. Or I can make it go like much slower like that. There is no UI for this. That's the goal. Drill represents how quickly it drills. Your cutter represents your head. When it wears out, it will go back to one of these, one of the base extractors. Alright, there's no power per second readout. The same way you do now. You go, that's not slow enough, I need more. Of the 150,000 people who bought or played Fortresscraft, 5 of them sat down and worked out the ore per minute relative to the bar speed. That dialogue box is going, if you are absolutely desperate that we need power per minute and power per second, you better come up with a way that you can tell me, because I'm not currently planning on showing it because nobody uses it. I couldn't tell you the fuel capacity of my car because I have a needle that says full and empty, and when it gets towards empty, I just refill it. I don't give a shit how many litres it takes or how quick it takes to empty it. I just fill it up with a needle. Same thing here. The hopper's filling up, better put my belts on it. No one's going to sit there and work it out. It's just not a thing. I can't worry about everything. I just have to worry about the important stuff. Stuff that people care about. The stuff that looks good. If someone really cares, we can write a machine to introspect it. Or someone can write a mod to do it. But from back here, no, I'm struggling to see it's running out of power. Hopper doesn't charge the extractor. No, it's a hopper. That should work, though. Oh, and it is hopefully, because I haven't tested this. This is how it should work. Oh, Andy, if only you could have centered that. That would have been the perfect place to... I will get Andy to tweak that so it looks like power should go in there. I also don't know if the glow map should go off when we're not working. At the very least, the glow map should be grayscale. I very much like the tutorial hopper system. I do like just going, look, build it here, please. I think most people get that, and I don't think anyone feels like being handheld too much. We don't say, I'd like to offload some more. What actually happens is a storage hopper will say, hello, I'd like to offload some ore, and then that gets passed down to the ore extractor. So some of Fortresscraft 2's development will simply be me forbidding you to do stuff that the engine supports, but looks stupid. The fact that the game lets you do stuff that looks stupid sometimes leads you to having to do stuff that looks stupid. We want to try and move towards machines looking nice. This makes screenshots look nice, and generally means the logical way of looking at it is the correct way. This is how dark it is down here. without lights, it's black. It's not just a bit dark, it's black. Oh, don't forget I can also hide the cursor in pitch blackness. The worst one, it's a YouTube video entitled 5 Ways You Can Improve Your Fuel Economy. And it will start off with, did you know that your car runs on an engine and there are different ways you can drive it? There are also many hundreds of modifications available. And after like a minute and a half it goes, so let's look at the top 10 ways you can improve fuel efficiency. To the point where I start a YouTube video, I just skip the first minute on the basis he's almost definitely going to be talking shit for it. I know why people do it, because if you watch a 10-minute video, you get more ad revenue than a 6-minute video. So he just started to pad stuff out. But yeah, Fortresscraft has what's called super black. If I take I paste that in and I fill pure red, it's super black. Cranking up the gamma doesn't help. There is no gamma there. That's one colour. So I do not know why that grey shit on the left there isn't shiny. That's the reflection map I'm currently applying, and I hope to continue to apply. I can make it more or less metallic, or smooth. Right now, that's as shiny can be. So check that by just cranking up. That's applying to everything. If you wanted the scratches to look shiny, then they don't, because I don't know why. Can definitely do that. It's only reflecting the sky. That's really cheap. But then I noticed the sky was very dark. But it has the problem that the bottom half of everything is black, because there is nothing. Doesn't matter, because it could just be the colour of the ground. Even if it does take umpteen hours, which it literally never has, you need to do it once. There we go. Done. That's it. From now on, I can place anything I like, anywhere in the world, do whatever the fuck I want. Done. There are no blockers. If you've got blockers, tell me and I will get rid of them, so you can just get on with shit without having to waste time. That's why I can cheat. That's why I can place anything down. That's why solar panels generate the power. Done. That's always been the case. Otherwise, I would have fixed it, because it would have been shit. Just about to see the sparkly bits flipping off and on, but that's not the sky it's reflecting. That's just the fact it's near a bright green bit of ground. I really hate physically based modelling. I hate this concept of, oh, it's somewhere dark, therefore it can't be shiny. Just make the thing shiny, you piece of shit. Smoothness more or less represents how blurry the reflection map is. That looks, well, it looks fucking horrible, but does it look shinier? Reflection map. So if I turn the reflection map off, it gets very dull. But we shouldn't have to rely on reflection map. We should be able, I should be able to disable that, and it should still look shiny because of the specular. We don't have any specular in this, and that's, I think, more of the issue. So Fortresscraft is just endless tricks and hacks. You've got like distance fog and stuff. So as you go underground, the distance fog goes black, which is cool, but it doesn't. That's not how it works. In reality, fog is volumetric. So this looks shiny. This is not reflecting anything. There is nothing to reflect, and absolutely looks shiny because it's got tight specular highlights on it. Doesn't matter what the reflection probes are giving. Doesn't matter about the ambient. Doesn't matter about the sky. It's just specularity. Yeah, I'm still not really seeing any lights, Todd. So if I put a light there, I'm not seeing any specularness on that at all. Which, if you want it to look like it's painted in a matte paint, is fine. But if you want to look like it's painted in a gloss paint, that doesn't work. Yeah, you can see the highlights there. That's what I'm expecting to see. I've got the reflection map going as well. It's not bad, is it? It pretty much lines up. So that's pure reflection probes at that point. That's at 95. That's at 90. So that's reflection probes and specular. Yeah, so you see I'm seeing blue highlights there. I'm seeing red. Probably if I put, yeah, and the green. So I'm seeing it's shiny in the sense of specular highlights, whereas this doesn't seem to have any of that. But this is what I hate about the new Unity PBR system. It's just annoying, does seem a bit childish, but it's just frustratingly stupid the way it works. Like, all I want is big highlights, small highlights, bright highlights, dim highlights. I don't want a highlight to be a fancy shape between small and bright and large and dim. I might want a large bright one or a small dim one. I don't have those options. Not really a question we've settled on, is how shiny is stuff. For a lot of being a game developer is just about watching dialogue boxes fill up. That's cool. I'm liking that. But why's copper so dark? I don't understand. I think copper should have green in it too. I'm sure it used to. I hope you're still there, Todd, because that looks shiny. Like there's no reflection maps going on, probably, but that looks great. I'm not saying everything should look shiny. I am just saying we should be able to look shiny if we want to. That's done using depth mapping, and I don't understand why Unity is so fucking awful. That's relief mapping. Unity's parallax shading should look like that, but it doesn't because I have absolutely no idea why not. It just doesn't work. And I don't know why. You're right, though, aren't you? Because that, you see, is on the right-hand side. It's like they're inside out. I mean, I can't actually set the normal to a negative number, I don't think, can I? Oh, I can. There you go. I've just inverted the normal. So you reckon it should look like that? That doesn't work either. Now they look inverted, but at least the correct side is glowing. Because now the inside of that slope is glowing. So 1. And it's still glowing there. Forget what you've just said is, hey, if we just spend 8 times the polygon count on them, yeah, well, not satisfactory. I like frame rate. These textures will go, and these ones will be replaced. So these will form the basis of the new high resolution texture system. Normal map does appear to be weird, but I mean, looking at the normal map, correct me if I'm wrong, yeah, Todd, but I'm spotting a significant difference between those two images. Well, you say God only knows. You're going to have to brace your godlike powers, because obviously this folder here. So what will happen is you won't create an atlas. I will dynamically create an atlas at runtime. So I'll take the existing atlas, scale it, and then start to replace textures inside it. Like things like this. To be fair, when Fortresscraft came out, these were very high resolution textures. I am very glad we've got the nice bump mapping, but they are fairly low resolution these days, certainly for 4K. So I'm going to stop there. I can't commit, and I can't make a build because of my blue screen, which crap. I shall stop the stream about now then. Please, feel free to chat my Discord. Feel free to, if anything happens about Fortresscraft on social media, Twitter, Discord, Reddit, Instagram, wherever, please let me know. I do try and keep up with everything, but sometimes stuff happens, like that conversation about how big the Unity world is. So cheers for watching, guys, and I'll see you all soon enough.